Hey guys, Doug Pedersen here, your friend and guide on the path to feeling better and doing better. All right, here we are today, video number 25, talking about who else wants to feel better without pills. Before we dive into it, I want to honor you guys. I just want to slow down a moment and honor you guys for watching these videos, and for checking these out. Because I know, like I've said before, if you're watching a video about self-care or watching me, it's because you care. It's because you care about yourself, and hopefully ultimately you care about yourself and how you respond and how you can help or interact with other people, because you care about them too. So I want to honor you guys. I want us never to forget just how powerful you really are. A lot of us don't realize just how powerful or big that you really are. And so I just want to honor you for that, for striving and for seeking. So hang in there with me. You guys can do this. All right, so video 25, and we're talking about who else wants to feel good without pills. And I want to start us off with a simple question. All right, have you ever truly examined what makes you feel anxious? Really, have you identified the cause? I know we all feel anxious. Some of us a little bit of anxiety, some of us a lot of anxiety, so much so that it's common, right? It's in our social fabric that if we feel anxiety, our doctor oftentimes is recommending that we take a prescription, that we get on some type of pharmaceutical to deal with the anxiety or the stress. So I think it's important whether we're on something or not. I'm not trying to cast judgment or chastise anybody that is taking something for anxiety. But I know I'm incredibly concerned. I'm not scared of this, but I'm concerned about it because I've got small kids. I've got a 5-year-old named Alina, a 7-year-old named Andrew, and they're growing up after several generations of people where it's just so common, and we're riddled with stress and frustration and anxiety that a lot of us are on prescription drugs to deal with it. And so I'm concerned because I know I want to stay away from that stuff. Everything that I've experienced tells me that I don't want to end up on a prescription to deal with my mood or deal with my emotions. I don't want anybody in my family. I don't want you to have to do that. So that's why we're going to take a few minutes today to talk about this. All right. So again, whether you are or you're not, or you experience a little bit of anxiety or a lot of anxiety, I think it's really important to ask the question, what really is, not just do I feel it, but what is the cause? All right. So there's a guy I know who owns a company, owns a business, and he's on a prescription right now because a lot of his top employees continue to leave to go to another competitor, and they're taking their customers or his customers with them. And so I guess the fear of losing more customers, the fear of having a business dip or decline or losing his business or ultimately whatever he's feeling, that's creating a lot of anxiety. And a while back when he went to the doctor and was just talking about this situation and how anxious it felt, the doctor writes him a prescription, which is totally normal these days. Okay, so again, I'm not casting judgment or anything else, but what I do know is that I've felt like this too a lot. I've felt incredible amounts of anxiety, especially as a younger man growing up, more so about my future. I'm one of those guys that it's the grass is always greener. So, I've always been striving. When I was trying to lose my weight, as I've talked about before, and get into the Marine Corps, I felt a lot of anxiety trying to push myself into the Marines. After 6 years of that, feeling the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, there was a lot of anxiety to figure out the next step. And as I've grown in my career, I've never really been able to settle. Well, not now, but in the past, was never really able to settle in the role or in the responsibility or see the good and rest in the position that I was in, sometimes even in the skin that I was in. It would cause a lot of anxiety, which to me is wasted time, wasted effort. And for some reason, I was able to deal with this stuff naturally. I didn't, maybe just kept it to myself more than anything. No one could tell that I was feeling this kind of anxiety. But just naturally, I was able to deal with it through my workouts, and again, you guys know my story. I've written about it in Tuna Breath. And so fitness just became a part of my lifestyle. But what I realized very early on as a young man is that even though I couldn't really control the anxieties, that when I would work out, I would feel different. I would find balance again. I didn't have that vocabulary then, but I'd come back to ease or come back to peace. The workout was a great release. As I got a little older, kept doing that, I found that writing and journaling and ultimately writing a book that only a few people have read. But it was really for me to be able to write my story, think about it, express it, analyze it, communicate it. It was very cathartic. So writing and communicating, just expression, self-expression has been a great way for me to deal with that as well. But the icing on the cake for me, when I really started to become self-aware and conscious of this whole idea of how to dispel anxiety naturally, was when I discovered and then started to study HeartMath. And that was about 5-6 years ago. And so HeartMath gave me a lot of the power tools that I needed to be aware of what was going on within me, and then also some quick techniques that I could practice so I didn't have to wait, for my workout time, or if I didn't have to wait to go sit down and have a big block of writing time. It gave me some power tools to do in the moment, some practices, really just breathing techniques and some head knowledge to understand how this stuff works, that allowed me to become a lot more resilient, and to see, truths rather than, things through an emotional screen, and to perceive and react even, more naturally and more centered in the moment, and then to rebalance fast if I did let a disruption occur. And so, it's those things that I want to encourage. Again, taking nothing away and being very gentle with the fact that a lot of us are on prescription drugs. I just want to open the door to yourself to know that there is other ways. There are other ways to address your mood. There are other ways that are more natural and normal and that actually get to the root cause of anxiety. And so here's what it is. The old school thought is like my friend here, this person I'm talking about, or what was with me, is that an event would happen outside of us. Like something could happen, like we're losing employees, or I'm not satisfied with my job and I need some other job, that I need to chase. Something would happen randomly that would create an emotion that we couldn't control. That's the old school of thought. The new school of thought, and we know this through science and through study, through research and practice, is that what causes the anxiety, or the sustained anxiety, is the rehashing. Okay, it's the rehashing of the event. It's the rehashing of the thought. It's the rehashing of the emotion that creates the fear that we're going to lose our business or take a dip in business, or that the rehashing of the thought that I'm just not happy in my current job and I think I would be happier. I think I would be happier doing something else. Okay, it's the rehashing, people. All right, that's what's creating the anxiety. And if we don't get rid of the rehashing, then we don't get rid of the anxiety for good. And unfortunately, I don't know this from experience, but I'm just guessing that when we take a prescription, it's very hard to get to the root cause and to change the emotion or the understanding or get to another truth about an event or about a memory that we've had. And so the pills just become a mask, if you will, or a way to deal with the symptom, not to, cut it out of us, for good. All right. So new school of thought, it's about the rehashing. You need some power tools to deal with that rehashing and to stop it. Did you know that just 5 minutes of recalled anger, remembering an argument, remembering, a fear that you have about your business or about your future, like what I'm talking about, just 5 minutes of that can create a stress response that can last 12 hours, 24 hours, or maybe even longer. And that stress response isn't just the feeling of anxiety, but it's biophysical. It's physical. There's about 1,400 biochemical reactions that occur when we do that. Recalled stress, recalled frustration, recalled anxiety. This stress hormone called cortisol is released. Our heart rate can elevate for up to 6, 10, 12 hours. Just by feeling that anxiety again. It's physical in us. It's not just a feeling. And so you need something to turn that process within you around. And there's techniques for that. There's natural techniques for that. I don't know if pills really do that. I don't know what they do, but there's all kinds of things that they do, and even side effects, and maybe things that we don't know that they do. And I know that a lot of people want to turn away from the prescription, but they just don't know where else to go. Well, this is a place to go. Embrace some of these self-care practices that I've been talking about. Working out, journaling, painting, all this self-expression. And when you don't have time to that and you're in the moment, in action, with your kids, with your job, with whatever, you need some power tools that you can move with right in the moment so you can turn that anxiety into something better, like ease or courage or understanding or just love, whatever's happening. Okay, and so HeartMath, breathing techniques, there's things like that to explore. All right, so the mistakes here that people can make, and as I've been talking about this over the years and teaching workshops and coaching people and whatnot. The first big mistake is just having lack of awareness. It's not embracing the new school. It's still thinking like, nah, that happened, so now I feel this way. It's just kind of throwing your hands up and saying, no, I don't, there's no way I can control my emotions. They just happen, and everything is external. That's the focus. That's the blame, or that's the cause. It's not true. Okay, so that lack of awareness is a big thing. We have to push ourselves and dig in deep to realize that we create our emotions, right? Events are objective, but it's our conditioning that creates the perspective. It's our conditioning that creates our meaning. And we can change that. We can manipulate that. We're the artist. We're the creator within ourselves, to work through that. And we're very flexible and adaptable when we want to be. We have to push ourselves to do that. So you have to raise your awareness and realize, no, I do have control over my emotions. I can dig in there and I can do things to change my emotional state, right? So you got to do that. Got to raise your awareness to that point where you believe it, and then it's to do something about it. It's not a one size fits all. One workout is not going to make you healthy for life. You have to do the daily work. You have to find the practices, the self-care practices that make sense, that make you feel the best, and really help you get to the roots of all these things within you that don't feel good, and root them out. So you have to do the daily work, and failure to do that is a big one, because it takes daily work. This stuff is happening within us all the time. So we need to constantly be on alert and be working and tending our gardens. All right, so that's my time. I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts and also a challenge. Okay, the challenge is I want you to go out online and research the quick coherence technique. This is a technique that HeartMath.org has created. It's very simple. You can do it for 1 minute, 2 minutes. There's really no limit, but learn the quick coherence technique. It's a way to bring you back to balance and flip the anxiety on its head when you feel it. And once you do it enough, you can do it proactively so that maybe you don't even let situations bother you before. You can build your resiliency, all right? So go check that out. Here's my second challenge to you, and this is the one I really want you to do. Whether you look up the video or not, go find the video or ask me how to do it. I can train you how to do this too. But I want you to think of at least 3 events or 3 people or 3 accomplishments or 3 things in your life that you just feel great about. A memory where you just felt courage or happiness or great excitement or great cheer or whatever, and recall them. Just pick 3 and put them into your memory bank. Bring them to your conscious outer awareness. And start the process of putting yourself in a place that feels good, And so for me, I have a lot of them, but 3 that come to mind quickly is the day I got married to Nuris. I can vividly picture her in her wedding dress, and I remember what it was like for her to walk down the aisle while I was waiting for her, and I can relive every detail so vividly that I really feel the emotion of what was happening. Just great love. There's so much love in the room, and the people that were there supporting us on both our families. It was a very powerful memory. So you want to pick something like that. The days my kids were born, the day Andrew was born, the day Alina was born, I can describe them vividly, and I remember the great emotion and the pride and the happiness and the joy that I felt with that. So things like that, pick 3, and I want you to post them in the comments. Take some action here. Let me help you be accountable. Just don't watch the video and say, oh, that's nice, Doug. Yeah, very good. But do something with it, all right? So I want you to engage with me, and I want you to think about this and be thoughtful. You're going to feel good that you did. You're going to feel good that you did something about this. Thinking of these emotions and something you can build on, and tell us about it. I told you mine. I told you just 3 of them. So you tell me 3 of yours in the comments, and let's encourage each other, and let's hold each other accountable. And you know what? You're just going to feel better by having done something to move yourself forward in your self-care. All right? So do that. Let's engage. If you like the video, share it. Engage with me. Give me your comments. And help this video go viral. So, all right, guys, that's my time. I love you. Remember, the goodness that's in me is the goodness that's in you. So go after it with all you've got.